Hello and welcome to the Attitude Academy. I am Turavedar. Today we are discussing how to apply.
Registration of a business with GST involves obtaining a registration number, that is GSTIN, from the tax department. The GSTIN allows a taxpayer to file returns and pay taxes in compliance with tax laws. This course will introduce you to the step-by-step process of registering with GST. Let's get started. Registration under Goods and Services Tax (GST) regime has unique advantages. It helps an entity to become a legally recognized supplier of goods and services, make GST payments, and avail input tax credit on goods or services purchased. A taxpayer can supply goods or services, or both, to more than one state. However, each state requires a separate GST registration, since the place of supply changes the jurisdiction. A taxpayer can register separately for each state with the same PAN. Registration to GST is mandatory for a lot of people. It is mandatory for people liable to deduct tax collected at source (TCS) or tax deducted at source (TDS), any taxpayer who makes interstate supplies, people making casual supply of taxable goods or services, agents who supply goods or services on behalf of other registered taxpayers, successors or new owners of a business in case of death of proprietor, transfer of business, merger or demerger with another business, which results in change of ownership. People who are required to pay tax under reverse charge. Suppliers of goods or services who have an annual aggregated domestic PAN-based turnover that exceeds the state's specified threshold limit. E-commerce, portal operators, and people or merchants making supplies through e-commerce portals. Input service distributors. UN bodies and embassies. Non-resident taxable persons engaged in supply of goods or services, and other notified persons including government bodies. However, there are some prerequisites before initiating the registration process. Please ensure that you have a valid permanent account number, PAN, a valid Indian mobile phone number, a valid email address, the prescribed documents in the required format, and information on all mandatory fields as required for registration. Place of business in the state where registration is sought. Your state and central jurisdictional details of the place where registration is sought. A valid account number from a bank in India along with the Indian Financial System Code IFSC number of the same bank and branch. A valid digital signature certificate DSC or Aadhaar number in case of using the e-sign or electronic verification code EVC facility. At least one proprietor or partner or director or trustee or karta or member or others with the corresponding PAN. An authorized signatory who is resident of India with valid details including PAN. Once you have this information, you can go ahead and submit your GST registration application successfully. Click the Know More button to download the registration document checklist. This will help you to know the format and file size of required documents that need to be attached with the GST registration application. Now, let us look at the GST registration process. Applying for GST registration is a simple two-stage process. Part A of the application captures basic information about the applicant. This includes PAN, email, and mobile phone number of the authorized signatory as well as state, district, legal name of business as per PAN. Once submitted, it generates a temporary reference number TRN, which is valid for 15 days. Part B uses this temporary reference number TRN to retrieve the application from the GST portal to fill out rest of the fields and attach mandatory documents before submitting the application. Data filled is automatically validated at this stage. PAN is validated from the PAN database. Aadhaar number from the Unique Identification Authority of India UIDAI database and Corporate Identity Number CIN from the Ministry of Corporate Affairs MCA database. If the Director Identification Number DIN is also provided, it will be validated from the MCA database too. Successful submission of Part B generates an application reference number ARN, which is sent to the taxpayer by email and SMS. When filling Part B of the application, please enter your name exactly as it appears in your PAN and Aadhaar documents. The submitted details will be validated automatically at the time of submitting the form. In case any of the provided details do not match with government records, you will not be able to proceed. After submitting, the application goes to a tax official for processing. The tax official needs to respond within 3 working days, where they can either approve the registration application or raise queries by issuing a notice seeking clarification. If the tax official approves, the GST portal will issue a Goods and Services Tax Identification Number GSTIN and a password which will be sent to the applicant. The registration certificate will also be issued and made available on the taxpayer's dashboard. However, if the tax official chooses to seek clarification on certain points, the applicant must respond to those queries within 7 working days. Otherwise, the option to approve the application will be removed by the system, and the tax official will only have the option to reject the application. Once the applicant responds to queries, the tax official needs to process them within the next 7 working days, where they can either approve or reject the application based on the applicant's response. If they approve it after reviewing the applicant's answers, the same approval process will follow. However, in case they do not feel satisfied with the responses given by the applicant and choose to reject the application, the system will generate the rejection order and will communicate the same to the applicant by an email and SMS. In case the tax official fails to take action on the registration application within 3 working days of filing or doesn't process the taxpayer's responses within 7 working days of receiving, the application will be deemed to have been approved. This completes the GST registration process overview.